Hello, patriots, praying citizens, and truth seekers. Today is Sunday, June 30th, 2019. Well, as the month is winding down, we had lots of activity in North Korea at the DMZ, and you probably have already heard that President Trump actually walked over the line of demarcation into North Korea. He is the first sitting president to ever do so. Earlier, the president tweeted, while there, meaning in Asia for the G20 summit, he was in Japan and then he also went to South Korea. If Chairman Kim of North Korea sees this, I would meet him at the border/DMZ just to shake his hand and say hello, ? North Korea responded to Trump's invitation through its state media, agreeing to the meeting. These are some of the president's comments. I just want to say that this is my honor. I didn't really expect it. We were in Japan for the G20. We came over and I said, hey, I'm over here. I want to call Chairman Kim. And we got to meet. And stepping across that line was a great honor. A lot of progress has been made. We just had a very, very good meeting with Chairman Kim, and we've agreed that we're each going to designate a team, and the team will try and work out some details. And again, speed is not the object. We want to see if we can really do a comprehensive good deal. I don't like sanctions being on his country. I'm looking forward. But the sanctions remain, yes. But at some point during the negotiation, things can happen. And that's when we'll be talking about sanctions. Okay?
My friend.
반갑습니다.
Good to see you again.
이런 데서 박한을 만나게 될 줄 생각 못했습니다.
I've never expected to meet you at this place.
That's good. That's my honor. Would you like me to set the cross?
장관께서 한 발자국 건너시면 사상 처음으로 우리 땅을 밟으시는 미국 대통령이 되십니다.
If Your Excellency
I'm
take
okay
a
with
step
that.
forward, you will be the
I'd be
first
very
U.S.
proud.
president to cross
I'd be
this
very
line.
proud to do that. Okay, let's do it. Come on.
Another great moment from the G20 is when the press asked President Trump to do something about Putin and meddling in the election, and they said, are you going to tell Vladimir Putin not to meddle? And this is what he did. And let's remember this Q post that says, North Korea defuse. Russia testing new missiles. Russia new threat. Coincidence. They must maintain threat to retain power and influence. Are you awake? ? Q. Obviously, the mainstream media does not like the fact, obviously the cabal doesn't like the fact that Putin and Trump seem to have a great relationship. Look at this from the Hill. President Trump defends election meddling remarks to Putin. I did say it. We had a great discussion, President Putin and myself. I thought it was a tremendous discussion. I did say it, and I did discuss it a little bit after that. Let's take just a minute and review some of the older posts. I think these are going to be very helpful to put in perspective what we are witnessing today. We've been told that North Korea was controlled by the cabal, that Google's Eric Schmidt set up secret communications between North Korea and Obama, possibly using chat rooms in video games or unsent draft emails. Iran fed North Korea with strategic intelligence under BHO's Iran nuke deal, and that's why Congress wasn't notified and didn't ratify it. So the question is, who was involved and why? North Korea had mini nuclear payload delivery systems in 2004 and ICBM capability since 2009, and previous tests that failed were staged. The Iran deal, the Russia reset, Uranium One, Canada, EU, Asia, and North Korea. These all are working together to become part of the biggest cover-up in U.S. history. Then this from April 26th of 2018, we have it all. The right people have the information. Good people are acting on the information. Think Google. Think Eric Schmidt's departure. Think North Korea. Many drafts, many shared users, foreign and domestic, variable access, codes, fake emails, game forum comms. New intel revealed today, Gmail comms between R, which was Renegade, and EG or Evergreen, so that stands for Hussein and HRC. Define Evergreen. These are the code names, the Secret Service code names for these people. And so he's referring to HRC. Then he says, when do you call a plumber? Ongoing investigations require ... And then there is an authorization code at the very bottom. This is a perfect example of future proves past. These are from the very beginning also, December 22nd of 2017, post number 426 and 430. How did NK suddenly have miniaturized nukes upon POTUS's taking office? What was stated during Hussein's term by agencies? How did NK suddenly obtain missile guidance capabilities? What is leverage? Define hostage, their last hope. What do clowns do with the access codes in tech? Who controls NK? Who really controls NK? What families are protected using leverage? Bank and financial leverage. Nuke strike package leverage. Why is Iran protected? Why is Iran funded by the U.S.? What news about Iran broke? Drugs? ? What about WMDs? Why did Brennan/others provide false intel regarding NK capability plus Iran tech/nuke development? Plate full, have faith. Just as a reminder, there was something called Operation Merlin. It was a U.S. covert operation under the Clinton administration to provide Iran with a flawed design for a component of a nuclear weapon, ostensibly in order to delay the alleged Iranian nuclear weapons program or to frame Iran. And of course the question is, what if it wasn't flawed technology? Another post from April 19th of 2018, Pelosi said her concerns about the North's proliferation deepened after a trip to the North many years ago. Quote, when we went to Pyongyang and we talked about missiles, we talked about MIAs and POWs, we talked about home, we talked about a number of subjects. But about the missiles, because the development of missiles was a national security issue of concern. They said, look, we just make these to sell. You want to buy them? We'll sell them to you. That is a quote from Nancy Pelosi about her trip to North Korea. Our friend writes, the words used regarding intel and buying/selling will bury her. Think net worth. Class level highest. Now, from just a few days later, so the 24th of April of 2018, what's at risk? $250 billion times twice a year. What the taxpayers don't know. Why aren't North Korea developments receiving worldwide praise? We endure. And it's because the cabal doesn't want success with North Korea. Would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior to the summit? Now this is a year ago, the summit last June. He did not have his updated phone number. 3 NK generals released closed the pathway for bad actors. And then 6 days later, NK already began denuclearization process under guidance from U.S. This is a year ago. So anything we see negative coming out of the news from North Korea obviously is just the last-ditch efforts of the cabal to keep us in a mindset of continual war. Remember, our friend has posted this title, Sum of All Fears, many times. This would be elements within our own government creating foreign wars against us. NK, Iran, and Russia used as puppets to create fear and keep the U.S. hostage to the cabal, using the mainstream media and people like John Brennan and others to keep the fiction alive. Our own tax dollars being used to fund our enemies. But once NK and Iran are freed, the U.S. is no longer hostage. That's my take. So how do we know that all this dismantling has begun? Well, we've got all the massive resignations of the past almost 2 years. We have ISIS defeated. We have economy and job success through the roof like never before. We've got NK diffused, freed, and Iran is next. And we know that Russia and China are kept by the cabal as the perpetual enemies to continue the threat. Again, NK diffuse, Russia testing new missiles, Russia new threat, coincidence, they must maintain threat to retain power and influence. Are you awake? Yes, we are. The president also tweeted this: I had a great meeting with President Xi of China yesterday, far better than expected. I agreed not to increase the already existing tariffs that we charge China while we continue to negotiate. China has agreed that during the negotiation they will begin purchasing large amounts of agricultural product from our great farmers. At the request of our high-tech companies and President Xi, I agreed to allow Chinese company Huawei to buy product from them, which will not impact our national security. Importantly, we have opened up negotiations again with China, as our relationship with them continues to be a very good one. The quality of the transaction is far more important to me than speed. I'm in no hurry, but things look very good. There will be no reduction in the tariffs currently being charged to China. Oops. All right, now taking a look at something that he tweeted earlier in the weekend. I'm in South Korea now. President Moon and I have toasted our new trade deal, a far better one for us than that which it replaced. Today I will visit with and speak to our troops and also go to the DMZ long planned. My meeting with President Moon went very well. Now, I want you to take a look at the way he tweeted this a couple of times with misspellings or, bad wording. So he said, go the DMZ, and then he tweeted about an hour later, go to the DMZ, and then finally came out with this one, which is go to the, actually, I think it got corrected at one point. I obviously didn't catch the correct one. So, again, another one of those codes. We'll have to wait and see what it actually means. And if somebody has an idea, please put it in the comments. So here was something that was from the HAN board that also has the right here. Ask yourself, if the U.S. GDP is greater than the total of all others combined, G7, which allows us to negotiate from a position of strength, why would previous presidents knowingly, unequally distribute America's wealth away by making unbalanced trade? Why was America's wealth being distributed worldwide? Why was the American taxpayer essentially subsidizing the rest of the world? The American taxpayer has no equal anywhere in the world. Access to the American consumer, U.S. market is essential for every major country in the world. America was systematically being weakened. Our military was systematically being weakened. America's back to leading. America first. This is what happens when POTUS has no strings attached. You'll notice this is from August 6th of last year. Now let's talk about stuff that happened here over the weekend. This was, I believe, Friday evening. Federal judge permanently blocks Trump from using billions in military funds for the border wall. Boy, they sure don't want that thing being built, do they? The ruling by U.S. District Judge Haywood Gilliam in Northern California Federal Court affirmed his previous decision and made permanent last month's injunction, which temporarily stopped the administration from redirecting military funds for a border wall. Gilliam's order halted construction on 2 planned border fencing projects that would have erected approximately 79 miles of barrier along areas of the southern border in California, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas. Gilliam's order also allowed for an immediate appeal of his decision, and the administration is expected to file an emergency motion over the weekend. We have the California State Assembly passing a resolution requiring church leaders to affirm homosexuality, and the measure is now heading to the state Senate. Basically, it means pastors cannot counsel against homosexuality, unwanted same-sex attraction, or gender confusion, known as conversion therapy. This is from Roger Ganem, Vice President of Legal Affairs for Liberty Counsel. He says, we have a track record. We have actual patients and clients who have benefited from therapy to help them with their unwanted attractions. We've helped them change their lives. We've helped them to live heterosexual lifestyles with strong and healthy marriages, and so it's really a slander against them to say that this practice is somehow unethical and harmful. It blames the church and religious leaders for the high rates of suicide among those who identify as LGBT. That's simply a false claim. It cannot be backed up empirically, and yet this resolution states it as if it's a fact. It's a foreshadowing of worse things to come. The resolution is perhaps an incremental approach to getting to the same goal, which is to make it illegal to have a conversation in a counseling room that tells a person that if you want to change, that it's possible. And that's what's so dangerous about it. Putting aside the blatant violation of the First Amendment, it just shows the church is under attack. So we have Kevin Manoia from Azusa Pacific University. He's the chaplain there, and he is the former head of the National Association of Evangelicals who pushed to get this passed. I'm not even going to say any more about that. I'm going to move to the next story. June 28th of 2019, this news came out. The Southern Baptist Convention has voted to make it easier to expel churches that mishandle claims of sexual abuse, and this is a great win. Delegates representing some 47,000 Southern Baptist churches gathered at the Birmingham Jefferson Convention Complex in Birmingham, Alabama, to approve an amendment allowing individual churches to be expelled from the convention if they mishandle or cover up sexual abuse cases. They also established a special committee to evaluate abuse claims against churches. Now, I want to take you back to an older article. This is from February 10th of 2019 in the Houston Chronicle. It's called Abuse of Faith. Since 1998, roughly 380 Southern Baptist church leaders and volunteers have faced allegations of sexual misconduct. That includes those who were convicted, credibly accused, and successfully sued, and those who confessed or resigned. More of them worked in Texas than in any other state. They left behind more than 700 victims, many of them shunned by their churches, left to themselves to rebuild their lives. Some were urged to forgive their abusers or to get abortions. About 220 offenders have been convicted or took plea deals, and dozens of cases are pending. They were pastors, ministers, youth pastors, Sunday school teachers, deacons, and church volunteers. So I think this is a great step forward, and it all is going to start coming out, I think, even more so. We're seeing it in the headlines, and it trickles in. It doesn't get a lot of national attention, but it is happening just like we were promised. Now let's talk about this guy. His name is Andy No. He's Asian, and he is a homosexual. He frequently covers Antifa rallies. He was attacked during a street protest in downtown Portland on Saturday. I will spare you, and I will not show you footage of the attack, but there is a group of masked protesters swarming him, pelting him with milkshakes, and punching him. He has been assaulted before while covering Antifa. He said on his Twitter profile that he's hated by Antifa. No said May 7th he was assaulted at his gym in Portland by a man he recognized from Antifa rallies. He was also attacked with mace by a woman wearing a mask at a rally May 1st. There were 3 suspects from Saturday's assault that have been identified. He's still in the hospital. He suffered a brain bleed. Now, the police have received information that some of the milkshakes that were thrown at him contained quick-drying cement, and they're encouraging anyone hit with that substance to report it to the police. You see this picture I got this off of 8chan, actually I think Twitter, but it was from 8chan, and here you see these guys mixing it up, making a milkshake using this cement, which is causes a chemical burn on the skin. Antifa often receives media coverage that's neutral or even favorable, with its members' violence either being ignored by reporters or vaguely explained away as a product of right-wing provocation. Anecdotal evidence has suggested that many of the mainstream reporters who are most active in covering Antifa also tend to enthusiastically amplify Antifa's claims on social media. What a surprise. So just a reminder, here's the 1929 flag of communists and social democrats in Germany, and on the right, the modern Antifa flag. Is there any question about which side they're on? Certainly not on the side of truth. If you were, you wouldn't have to cover up your faces. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler said he was appalled by what he saw in the video, but he says, I support the Portland Police Bureau's decision not to intervene. It's been said that there is a stand-down order on the police not to stop these people from attacking others. I couldn't find verification of that, but that is certainly a story that's out there. All right, we're going to wrap this up. I have a whole slew of information on Kamala Harris. I'm going to probably try to get that out tomorrow because she came out as quote-unquote one of the winners in the debates last week. So I thought it's important to bring forth information on her that you might want to share with your friends and family members. So let's finish up with this great picture. And if you've ever been to the DMZ, it is quite an interesting place. I was there in 2015 when my son was serving in the Army in Seoul, and we went to the DMZ. I don't know how else to describe it. It's eerie. You're on this train. The train is painted with butterflies and flowers and beautiful nature things, and yet you're driving through land that is loaded with unexploded bombs, and you cannot leave the road because you might detonate something. And then you've got the DMZ, which is the demilitarized zone, and this barrier between the two Koreas. Earlier this year, they were taking down guard stations. The guards were from the north and south were chatting with each other. So obviously things are happening, and people are saying it's possible that all the deals are already done, and they've just dragged this out for reasons of timing because of what was happening behind the scenes. Well, I don't know, but I do know that the important stuff is the stuff you don't see. The important things, we don't see God, but that's the most important element of our existence, is that we have a Father in heaven who loves us. We don't war in the flesh, we war in the spiritual realm. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. I want to just pray, Father, thank you so much for our president. Thank you for what he's doing. We know, Father, that it's obvious he hears from you or he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. Father, bless his steps. May he continue to hear you and walk the straight and narrow path right where you want him to go. I pray for President Kim, for his country, for his nation, for all the people who are imprisoned there, for their religious beliefs, for just thinking the wrong way. And I just ask, Father, that you would free the prisoners. I pray for Andy Ngo, who was injured on Saturday. Father, I pray for people who are standing for the truth. He is a conservative and he has got some things messed up, but he did not deserve what happened to him. Nobody does. And so, Father, I pray that you will revenge all this disobedience. And I pray, Father, for the homosexual and transgender communities of every stripe. Father, I pray that you would send them on a path towards the truth. Whatever the truth is. There are some that watch my channel and perhaps believe that they have found the truth. But all of us, Father, need to know what the truth is. We need to understand things from your perspective. So I ask that you would influence all of us. And where we are walking in falsehood, whether it's the way we think or the way we behave or the words that we say, Father, talk to us and show us. Forgive us for when we fail. I thank you for this audience, Father, and ask you to bless them this week. Bless our nation, Father, and bring it back to a place where we bless you as Americans. I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you all so much. I will see you next time.